Hi, today we're going to work with this raster image, a bitmap of I guess it's a chicken sandwich. And I've already removed the background from this. And I'll show you what that means. Make a square and drop it behind. You can see there's no background behind this thing, sandwich. That's because I took the time to remove it. Now, if you don't know how to do that, I have a couple of other videos that explain how. I might do another one of those one of these days, but for now let's work with this. I want to turn this sandwich into a vector image. So what I'll do first is I'm going to copy it and paste it. That way I have two and I can just remember what my original looked like. I'm going to convert this into a grayscale bitmap, which is like an old-fashioned black and white picture. Now it's only shades of gray, but you can see some of it's dark and some of it's light. So I'll go up here to Effects, Adjust, Tone Curve. Now the tone curve, you can see down here it's black and white on this side and white up here. This is the shadow area on the left and the highlight area on the right. But I want this whole thing to turn black. So I'm going to select the sharp curve, which I don't know if that would matter, but for this. But I'm going to bring that highlight area all the way down. And what that's going to do is turn this into a black image. It's still a grayscale bitmap. So what I'm going to do next is go up here and convert it again to a monochrome bitmap, black and white. And at this point, it's a one bit, one color or the other for either the background or the foreground. I'm going to make the foreground black, and I'm going to eliminate the background by left clicking on my palette. Now I got a monochrome bitmap, and I'm going to trace it with a power trace, line art. And there we go. Now I can get rid of my monochrome bitmap and just keep my vector object. Now this is going to be grouped, so I'm going to ungroup it, and then there is a white background, so I'm going to just delete that, delete this, and now this is vector. I can do whatever I want with it. I can make an outline, and I can use whatever outline properties I want. And you can see how that might be useful for some graphic effects. Come up with creative ways to use this. Now we can, let's copy that and paste it. And let's give this chicken sandwich a drop shadow. I'm going to change this to 50% black with no outline. Then I'll change it back to a grayscale bitmap. Remember, this is a vector object now, but not anymore. I just changed it to grayscale. And I'll blur it. Bitmap, blur, Gaussian blur right here. And you can blur it a little bit or a lot depending where you set this. I'm going to use it right about there. Maybe a little bit less than that. Maybe a little bit more than that. There. Then I can put it behind my chicken sandwich. And make a shadow. Move it around till you like where it is. To me, that shadow looks a little dark. So if I want to change that to something else, I will go to bitmaps and then right here, mode, black and white. It's going to change it back into a monochrome bitmap, line art, not halftone. Move your threshold up a little bit till it looks the same. And then now it's a monochrome bitmap, but it still has that blur to it. But these pixels are all either white or black. So once again, now that it's a monochrome, I can make either the front or the back whatever color I want. I'm going to get rid of the green background. Right now it's green. And by left clicking on my palette, and then I'll change this. It was 50%. I'll make it 30% with my right mouse button, which I might even go a little lighter than that. How about that? 20. And that gives it kind of a something that most people wouldn't even see, but it gives your image a little bit more depth and it makes it a little bit more interesting. So if this is for an ad or something, you just want to give it that extra bit of, I don't know, ambiance using your right mouse button. Sometimes you might want to do that depending what you're working on. So anyway, that gives a little bit more of a interesting look. I'll turn it back to black, or turn it back to 30% black, I think is what we decided on. And that's a couple things you can do using vector objects that you create from a raster object. Try some of your own ideas with this technique, and I hope your next project goes well.